Hello, Becca.
Hi.
How was your day?
I'm good. How was your day?
It was pretty good. Today, in my nutrition class, we learned all about electrolytes.
Huh. What are electrolytes?
Well, electrolytes are salts that dissolve in water and dissociate into charged particles called ions.
Interesting. Tell me more about electrolytes.
Well, there are several of them. Sodium, chloride, magnesium, calcium. They're all
Tell me more about chloride.
Well, chloride is a very important mineral in our body. Would you like to hear more?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Becca, chloride is an essential nutrient, which means that our body does not make it on its own and we must consume food in order to get the mineral in our body. It is a byproduct of the reaction between chlorine and another positively charged ion. Chlorine is a harmful green-yellow gas and is very toxic to humans. But due to the reactivity of the element, it does not occur freely in nature. It is always found bound to other elements through ionic bonds. When in the presence of electrolytes, the chlorine molecule gains an electron from the positively charged ions, giving it a negative charge, forming chloride.
Chloride? That sounds familiar. Does it have anything to do with sodium chloride?
Yes, Becca. Yes, it is. Sodium chloride, or NaCl, is one of the most common of the chlorides that we consume in our food. NaCl is about 60% chloride and 40% sodium. And to figure out chloride content of your food, to make sure you're getting enough of it, you just multiply 0.60 multiplied by the amount of sodium, which equals the amount of chloride.
Wow! How many other ions does chloride bond with?
Well, Becca, chloride has many close relationships with over 150 other ions. So you could say it's kind of like the pimp of all ions.
Check them out now.
Wow! What else can you tell me about chloride?
Well, Becca, chloride is one of the most common extracellular ions in the bloodstream. It occurs mainly in body fluids, and it makes up about 70% of the body's negative ion content, which is about 0.15% of the body's weight, which is about 115 grams.
That's very interesting. What can you tell me about the history of chloride and the history of chlorine in general?
Well, Becca, the history of chlorine is very interesting. In 1774, Carl Wilhelm Scheele, a Swedish pharmacist, discovered chlorine gas, unbeknownst to him. And when he mixed hydrochloric acid with manganese dioxide, it formed the signature greenish-yellow gas, which is what we know of the element chlorine. And in 1810, Sir Humphrey Davy, an English chemist, actually recognized the yellow-green gas as the element chlorine. He named it after the Greek word chloros, which means greenish-yellow.
I like history. Tell me more.
Well, Becca, in 1848, Ignaz Semmelweis discovered that hand washing with chloride of lime greatly reduced maternal mortality due to infection of puerperal fever. His findings were rejected at the time by medical society because he couldn't prove that such bacteria existed. Hand washing reduced maternal death from 18% to 1.2% per 1,000 births.
That's so interesting. What kind of food is chloride in?
Becca, chloride is in almost everything you eat. It is most abundant in table salt, sea salt, and in soy sauce. 1 teaspoon of table salt has 3,000 milligrams of chloride. Isn't that crazy? You can also get small amounts of chloride in tomatoes, seaweed, rye, lettuce, celery, and olives.
But I only drink diet soda and smoke cigarettes. Do I get enough chloride in my diet?
No, Becca, that is not a healthy diet. But you can get a huge amount of chloride in processed foods. They are the #1 source for chloride because of the salt content in the food, which preserves it and gives it a longer shelf life. But be aware of the risk of eating a high salt diet. So you better be eating your processed foods in moderation.
So, what you're saying is, I should be eating a healthy diet with lots of fresh fruit and vegetables and whole grains and only an occasional bag of Doritos?
Yes, Becca, that is very true.
But what about cigarettes and beer?
No, no, no.
How much chloride do I need?
Well, Becca, because you are a woman and you are not pregnant,
But I am pregnant.
Becca, you shouldn't be drinking or smoking, but that is beside the point. You should be ingesting 2,300 milligrams of chloride a day.
If you say so.
Becca, the RDA minimum for adults, this is the minimum, is 750 milligrams a day, and for children 7 to 10, it is 600 milligrams a day. Infants, it's 180 to 300 milligrams a day of chloride. Adequate intake for adults, 19 to 50, for men is 2,300 milligrams a day. Women who are not pregnant, 1,500 milligrams a day. And for adults 51 to 70, it is 2,000 milligrams a day. Adults over 70, 1,800 milligrams a day.
But how much will my children need?
Well, Becca, the adequate intake for children 1 to 3 years is 1,500 milligrams a day. 4 to 8 years, 1,900 milligrams a day. And 9 to 18 years, 2,300 milligrams a day. Infants 0 to 6 months, 180 milligrams a day. And 7 to 12 months, 570 milligrams a day. The upper level intake, which is set very high, is 3,500 milligrams a day. But the upper level depends upon individuals' ethnic background, age, and other health factors.
That's good to know, Nick. But will chloride make my chest bigger?
Sorry, Becca. Chloride is very important, but it does not increase bust size. But it does aid in digestion in the form of hydrochloric acid. It also maintains kidney function, maintains the acid-base balance in the blood, aids in muscle movement, and it balances the body fluids. It also conducts nerve transmissions. And also, Becca, this is good to know. The normal levels in your blood range from 96 to 106 milliequivalents per liter in adults, and your ideal value is 103 milliequivalents per liter.
Gosh, Nick, that is good to know. But what if I don't get enough?
Well, Becca, with your diet of soda and cigarettes, you probably are lacking chloride. But for the average American, they consume way too much chloride in their diet because of the salt intake. But hypochloremia, or chloride deficiency, is still common and is classified by levels below 95 milliequivalents per liter. The causes of hypochloremia could be excessive vomiting from bulimia, excessive sweating from exercise, diarrhea, overhydration, burns. Anyway, Becca, all of these lead to metabolic alkalosis, which is very dangerous because it throws off the acid-base balance in your body, leading to an increase in pH. Potential symptoms could be low blood pressure, weakness, loss of appetite, and dehydration. And treatment is basically just eating a healthy diet. And if that does not help, then maybe you should take some supplements.
But what if my baby is deficient?
Well, Becca, chloride deficiency in infants is often common due to the lack of adequate levels of chloride in formula. Infants, as you recall, need about 150 to 570 milligrams per day. And this could lead to failure to thrive, anorexia, extreme weakness, and delay in development of the baby.
But what about breastfeeding?
Yes, Becca, breastfeeding is the best option.
That's good to know, Nick. Is it possible to get too much chloride in my diet?
Chloride toxicity, or hyperchloremia, is more than 110 milliequivalents per liter in the blood. Toxicity is not known at this time because excess chloride is removed as waste in the kidneys.
But Nick, what if I have azotemia secondary to oliguric acute renal failure?
Well, yes, Becca. I suppose that could be a cause of hyperchloremia. Excessive concentration of chloride is usually the result of administration of sodium chloride, volume depletion, or entities causing metabolic acidosis without a widened anion gap. Chloride toxicity does not usually present any symptoms, and treatment is based on the underlying cause.
Golly, Nick, can you use chloride to treat metabolic alkalosis?
You sure can, Becca. Chloride is also used to detect seawater contaminations in sources of drinking water. Because chloride is a major constituent of seawater, testing for chloride levels determines the degree of contamination.
Wow, Nick, I sure have learned a lot about chloride.
I know. I'm glad to share it with you. It was nice talking with you, Becca, but I think I'm gonna go get some chloride right now.
Oh, good.
Thank you.